No, I'm excited. We're talking about business through the eyes of ICT. And we have these two beautiful ladies with us here. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about your business and how you actually work to improve businesses. I'll start with Barbara.
My name is Barbara Birunji Mutabazi. I founded Women in Technology Uganda, which aspires to support more women to get into business, but more importantly, how to also use technology to improve processes and also improve on their businesses. So we provide business development services with a very huge touch on how do you utilize technology to help your business. So especially now in the times of COVID, how do we help women take their businesses online, but also not just online? For the women who can't get online, how can they use technology to continue their businesses? That's what we do.
she's she's wearing a mask, so I probably not spoil the microphone any further. My name is Carol Chaze Kakooza, and I am the executive director of aXiom-Zorn. What is aXiom-Zorn? I many times everybody hears about aXiom-Zorn, they expect a German guy or Italian person to pop up, and then they see this black woman, and very short also. But uh, that aside, axiom means authentic. It means authentic data, and Zorn is the scientist that founded Axiom. So that is why we are called aXiom-Zorn. aXiom-Zorn comes from a background of about 15 years of dealing with data across the world. I've been lucky to travel all over the world, doing exactly what the ladies have been talking about in finance, in agriculture, in technology. I've traveled all the way to, and this idea of data, we are a data science and data driven business, came from one time when I was working in Chile, and we are in a small community, and everybody's complaining about the bank's request for collateral, but they know these are goat hunters, they have cows. And I remember saying, we can actually get a profile of each of the ladies in this village, and we go and position them for lending. And I remember telling my boss at that time, I was working for World Vision under the Vision Fund um, section. And I remember they asked me, are you serious? Somebody can actually consider a profile of a person and use it as collateral. Today, I will tell you that the World Bank, CGAP, have acknowledged and accredited the Progress Out of Poverty Credit Score that I initiated, and today it is being used by two banks in Uganda. Centenary Bank has started using it. I hope Opportunity will use it. And we are starting with Standard Bank in 3 countries. And this is a very interesting profile. All I have to do is come to your house, do your KYC, ask about your production, transactional history. Do you use mobile money? Do you even understand what mobile money is? Do you have children? Do you have labor? What's the size of your land? We walk your land together. We have 324 data points that we collect from one farmer, and that forms the profile of the farmer. That is what we have put points to and credit scored that farmer. That gives the farmer a credit score 60, 70%, which can then be used by banks like Opportunity Bank to then offer credit with just a chivanja, because then you know who I am. The biggest risk that we have in agriculture is that agriculture is not predictable. And what we've also done is a, a couple of years ago when I came back home, we initiated the first crop insurance in Uganda. And I was proud to be the person, unfortunately, the New Vision person has left. New Vision put me in the newspaper and said, she's got 5 billion to give to the entire country. And I remember getting phone calls from people saying, Carol, where's the money? But that was for insurance at that time. And we did the first weather-based insurance about 5 years ago. Today, it's still thriving with Agriculture Consortium. We have gone ahead and bundled this using technology still. Now, what I forgot to tell you is that our profile is geotagged. So as I speak today, our Digital Agriculture Reference Bureau has a geotag for 444,000 farmers across the country, agricultural households, geotagged, And we use that to provide insurance, crop weather best insurance, where we just use the tag. We don't have to come and look at how beautiful Faith is and say, oh, I will give you 400,000. And then I look at the next neighbor and say, I think I'll give you 150. Everybody gets the same. For as long as you're affected by rainfall, drought, heavy rainfall, you don't have enough water to grow your crops, you get it. Now, this is the icing on the cake. We have also gone ahead to look at how the health of these families are. Uganda today has no micro health insurance. Very few people actually understand that. So what we've done is we've bundled weather best index insurance with micro health insurance. And we are saying for a family of 6, mother, father, 4 children, you have access to 1.2 million shillings. In a season, you can take it for a year, but a season is 6 months. For you to, whenever you get sick for 3 days, you can actually call into our center and you're given, for a mother, they get 300,000, father gets 300, children get 150. And I'm sure farmers are usually very healthy. So it might be in 6 months, might be just once. And you get access to that. Should mother or father die, you have access to life insurance of 5 million shillings to help you cover. And you know how much you have to pay?
No, we do not, but we're curious.
You only have to pay 37,000 shillings for that season for you to get all that. $10 for those who want to change it into dollars. Just $10, and you're able to guard against the climate shock and the health, because those two things are very unpredictable. So you can't know. And we're using technology to make sure that this is working from that first profile that we use. So after about 15 years, we're finally here. And I believe technology has played a huge role in ensuring that this is functioning.
I just had a quick follow-up question before we come to Barbara.
Yes.
Because you mentioned that we started with the weather index insurance,
Yes.
which is about 5 years ago.
Yes.
So how far back did you introduce the health insurance component?
So,
and has there been uptake? Because I know there's uptake for agriculture, but I know it's bundled, but
yes.
what if I just wanted the health?
So we know that 85% of Ugandans are in agriculture, right? There's no way you can come for weather and you don't come for health. So we're looking at that. I'm looking at my grandmother down in the village who is going to get sick. I know, Faith, you have insurance.
I do.
But my grandmother doesn't have. So that is why, and for her most important thing is that garden. But when I say, you know what, Jaja, you can also get this one, and you're only going to pay 37,000. We are even going ahead and saying, can we actually spread it out into the season? And they pay, 5,000 every year until the season is over, so that the insurance firm is. And I want to thank Sanlam for being very nice to us. By the time I sold this idea, they could not believe I was telling them this, but finally allowed. But to make sure that that person down at the lower pyramid is fixed. If we fix that area, I assure you, you're going to see very many women. And empower a woman, you will empower a community.
That is so true, Barbara.
No, I just wanted to add, of course, for women in business, one of the biggest challenges is access to finance, but also business development services. Because even if I have the money, but I do not know how to run this business, it's going to fail. I've spoken to people who have said, but I gave my wife 30 million shillings. There is nothing now. She doesn't have anything. Well, did you show her how to run that business? So the first speaker talked about networks and the importance of networks. So what I wanted to add on that particular bit was, when we come into a network of women in business, not all of us are at the same level of our businesses. So as women, we are naturally sharing people. So what I have learned from the networks that I am part of is, sometimes your business challenges are solved by fellow people who have gone through fellow women who've gone through that experience, and will tell you where the pitfalls are. For example, if you're just starting out in business, it's so important for you to be part of a network. One, it helps you in terms of accountability, but also these are the people that when you listen to their own stories, one, you're going to be inspired. Let's say you're dreaming small, and you're thinking maybe in 5 years I'll have. But when you hear where people have been, for example, when she spoke, I was like, wow, if she was speaking to a large group of women in business, they would be inspired and want to be where she is. Most don't even know. Access to information is a huge challenge. Technology helps close that gap. Many women are not accessing the beautiful loans that Opportunity Bank is providing simply because they do not know. How do you get to know this information? Networks. That's the first thing. And because of COVID-19, you don't have to be in a network that meets physically now. You can even just be in a network that meets online. Every Saturday, 9 a.m. for 30 minutes, guys, ladies just meet on either WhatsApp or just normal conferencing on calls, and you just talk about what opportunities you've seen. In the era that we are in, where everyone is avoiding being physical and all, what I have seen help women a lot are those networks, those informal networks that you have. They create the biggest business opportunities for you as a woman. So let's say you have a smartphone. Most people use their phones to just go on Facebook and jazz and read stories. Like you can spend 5 hours on Facebook just reading things on Mama Tendo and I don't know what. Yet you could use the same time on your phone to create a business brand without it costing you more than just airtime. So maybe Facebook, I don't know whether they've opened Facebook yet, but WhatsApp is open. How do you use the people that you have within? Do they even know what you do? Like, let's say you're in a group of OGs and you all just talk about normal things, but no one in that group knows what you do as a woman. That's where we fail to utilize the informal networks that we have. So technology plays a really big part in helping you take your business from one level to the next level. It provides information. A lot of the information that I get about my business comes from the networks that I'm part of, but also letting people know what I do. So the next time, Faith, if you're my friend and you hear about something, you're like, yeah, Barbara was actually talking about her looking for 10 million shillings. Then you see an opportunity somewhere, you definitely think about me first time and you bring me into the picture. You say, hey, I saw this. So I feel like we have so many opportunities with technology that we are just looking at or not taking advantage of. Facebook has some new products, like you can create your own shop on there. Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara. Just as a follow-up question, you mentioned we're talking about technology and we've talked about it in the context of WhatsApp and Facebook and all of this. But I'm thinking for me, who doesn't have access to online,
Mhm.
can I use technology to promote my business, and what's out there for me to use?
100%, yes, you can. So we work with women farmers in Lira and Abim district. We are doing a simple digital profile for these women. Just basically what you're doing, your sub county, your village, your parish, like down to the last level of where you are and what you are doing. So one of the challenges that one of the speakers mentioned was transportation, the need to remove middlemen. Yeah. And here's how our women networks are trying to help in solving that challenge. One, you have a basic phone. You will find that there may be 10 women in the same parish who are all doing almost the same thing, but everyone is struggling with their own transport needs. Like you have, let's say, in Mbara, where we also work with women farmers, you're all trying to transport maybe 30 bunches of matoke on a small, let's say you use border and they are charging you maybe 50K or whatever. And yet, if you got together with other women in that group and got a small truck and you all contribute to this, it will be way less than when you're doing it alone. So you don't need a smartphone for that. You just need to know who in my network is doing. So one of the things that we're doing as we provide business development services is helping these women see how they can utilize just your basic phone to be able to access this. But also because it's COVID time, one of the ways that we're using ICT to reach the women, as we get the profiles, our community business mediators are using the phone to teach these women. You don't want to get her out of her work because she's not going to give you a whole day to just come and sit and listen to business services, which she needs. But if you're using a phone and say, hey, Mary, every Thursday for 45 minutes, I'm going to call you. I'll connect John, so and so and so and so to the same phone call so that we can all speak. So that's one of the ways that we're using technology. And people are learning from each other. And before we know it, the businesses themselves are connecting. They're saying, hey, you said on Thursday you transport this. How are you doing it? Oh, I use a truck. Do you have space in your truck? I could pay a little bit. So that is how, even without a smartphone, you can actually utilize the simple tech that you have.
Thank you, Barbara. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Carol.
Thank you. I think when it comes to women networks and empowering the MSMEs and SMEs. One of the most interesting things that has happened to us at Axiom this year has been the partnership with Uganda Investment Authority, and I want to applaud them for looking out to the small businesses, not just the big enterprises that you're looking at and the investments, but trying to go down to the MSMEs. And what is happening is that Uganda Investment Authority, Axiom, and Vantage Communications are putting up what we call the National SME Portal, where we're going to geotag and register all the MSMEs and all SMEs in the country. Now, each of the SMEs is going to get what we call the business optimization facilitation, where we sort of like provide, and that is for Opportunity Bank to take advantage of. We provide a platform and a profile where we can tell um, an SME is capable of getting a particular amount of money. What has been their profitability in the past few years? She talks about being empowered into a group, put it together into a group, and her as a hardware shop, she cannot get a loan alone because of the collateral. But with the business optimization, we shall be able to have her history. And if we have her history from the portal, it is then easy for Opportunity Bank to say, okay, think Sarah can now get a loan as a business entity because she's an SME at a certain level. And that's where the national SME portal is going to be very, very useful, not just for the SMEs, but for Uganda, because there's a lot of contribution towards SMEs in this country. We have a lot of businesses starting up, a lot of entrepreneurship in our veins that, many times we wonder how people think about these innovations and ideas. So technology is going to play a lot into empowering. And with COVID-19, there's nothing as good as having data, real-time data. If I put up the Digital Agriculture Reference Bureau right now, you would know the status of agriculture in a certain district. You would know the status of an SME in a particular area and how much you can actually get productivity. I know that Uganda Investment Authorities recently had something to do with a sugarcane factory in northern Uganda. Imagine if you can tell that particular investor how much is going to come out of those outgrowers, how much they're going to get when it comes to harvesting, how much they will benefit actually at the end of the season. The banks need that, insurance needs that, people who are marketing need that. So the portal is going to play a huge role. The SME portal is going to play a huge role on putting more light on those that have not been visible. So there's a lot of visibility and traceability for SMEs and MSMEs that have not, nobody knows exist. So I think a lot of technology, allowing technology to thrive in the country is one of the most important things that I think this government has done. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. As a follow-up question, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Pamela actually, which is, are we seeing businesses shift in terms of adopting technology? I know before, the lockdown and all these things, all of us were like, I can use my phone, whatever. I know who my clients are, but I know that right now, especially people who are starting up, have a problem trying to find customers, trying to deliver their services because you know the whole ecosystem and how it works. So from where you're sitting, I'll ask Barbara first. From where you're sitting, since you're a hub, how are you helping such people, business development wise or otherwise, so that they can grow their businesses?
One, we moved some of our training online. So you don't even have to leave your home, even during the lockdown, for you to take part in this training. And we used these trainings as forms of creating networks in cohorts. So that's your starting point. People, one of the biggest challenges that people write when they're applying to us is, how do I get customers? And when you ask someone, so are you on WhatsApp? Yes. How many groups are you part of? I can't even count. How many people averagely are in these groups? Let's say you're part of maybe 10 groups, okay? How many people averagely? Let's say it's a small group and it has 30 people. How many of those could be potential customers? And how many people do they know? So building from where you are, like start from where you are, the people that you have in your phone, even if it's not even WhatsApp. Because when you talk about technology online and all, we are mainly talking about the small group of 1 point something million that are in Kampala, not the person that is in a Beam or Lira or a Germany who has no access to this. But even them on their phones, they have people within. those within their networks, those informal networks. So how do you use your phone? How much does it cost? A lot of telcos now have bundles, voice bundles. Put some voice bundles. Most times as businesses, we don't want to invest in ourselves because you're thinking, now if I use my 20K to just put airtime, but put maybe 5,000 and call 6 people. Tell them what you have. Most businesses have come up during COVID-19. When you are sitting at home, you realize, oh, I could actually bake, or I could actually do crochet, or whatever it is. Start with that small network that you have. So we're encouraging people to go back to their informal networks, even your family. Probably your aunt or your mom or your sister, wherever they work, they have people who would be interested in your product or service. But does your sister know exactly how serious you are about this? Because sometimes we want to recommend people, but we are thinking, what if they're not serious, or what if the product is not nice? So get your network to your initial network to trust what you're doing. So that also goes back to your business ethics, who they know you for. If they know you for a joker and you come and start saying, I do this, I won't promote you because I'm thinking she probably won't deliver. But if you create, if you put yourself out there as a serious person, here's how I've thought through my business, use the informal networks first. Family, friends are your first people for you to be able to build a network, an informal network that can promote you even from your home. You can start that way.
Thank you, Faith. I come from a different school of thought. We are a third world country. I think we have to be reminded every time we go. Everybody talked about Captura. I was in Captura a week ago, and I was in Captura, Buko, Queen, and um, Bulambuli. And what is the most interesting thing is that we are talking about technology here, and somebody's thinking about that hill that she's going to climb with a sack of cassava on her back, and then you come and tell her about technology. She'll actually think you've just come from Kampala to just, they usually say, you people come with your projects. And so what did we do? We changed the approach. We said, we want to know who you are. Can we know who you are? Can we find out where you come from? And that's the profile. The profile that I'm going to make sure that is visible on the SME portal, because that is an MSME. Why do I call them an MSME? They have a family, father, mother, dick. They have their children. And usually an MSME does not have to hire bapakas. So, but then they contribute a certain amount of money to the GDP of Uganda. So we changed the other way and said, we want to know who you are. So we don't necessarily need you to go onto the internet, but we're going to use technology to get for you to be seen. So today, if I put up the profile of that person, you will zoom into her house, into the garden that she actually has. We are lucky that the satellite actually updates every week. So you can even pull out the growth patterns of that crop. You can see the polygon of that farmer. What we've done is taken technology to the lower pyramid. We are not pushing them to put um, data on their phones. What is amazing is that the farmers in Kapchora, and I'll talk about Kapchora because we are in all the 112 districts in Uganda as aXiom, but the farmer in Kapchora that was very interesting. They said, why don't banks start disbursing our loans on mobile money? That was a shocker from all the things that we found out, and that for me is very good. I laugh. My 75-year-old father is on WhatsApp. He sends me messages. He literally works on WhatsApp. He's 75, 76, coming 76. My mom is 60, and she will not go if she doesn't have OTT. She will forget about OTT but say, I'm not online. Why can't I? But imagine 10 years ago, a 60-year-old telling you, I am not on WhatsApp. You'd actually wonder. Today they are doing it. What has happened is that we are getting baby steps to mobile money, trusting that gadget, and you're not seeing paper. The fact that you're not seeing the paper, but you know that there's digital money that you can trust, is something that we should be very appreciative of. And I think in the world, we're one of the few countries that have a nation that have moved to that to that level. So technology going down to the lower pyramid is not for us to force them to buy it, but for us who are empowered to make sure that we can actually put it to them. And lastly, to the banks to try and do the technology, still take the same path. Why are loans not disbursed on mobile money? Why are we only allowing MTN and Airtel to disburse the small loans on their mobile money? And yet the banks have transactional history as well as they have the transactional history for mobile. Why is it that we don't have the opportunity banks of today? And it's very nice that I have opportunity banks, so I can shoot all the way, and then tomorrow they'll, you know, because for me it is very important that we have this audience. But why isn't a loan being given to that farmer? Why do we have to make her drive all the way from Buko, which has a lot of hills, to the bank in Kapchora, I would think? Yeah, it takes a whole day to travel. It takes a lot of money. She's coming to take 500,000. Why don't you just send it on the phone? And yet we have mobile money functional. So for me, technology is going down to the people, and we make sure that we utilize that technology for that. We do not force them to put it on, but we work with it to make services easier.
Just to add, for us to embrace, especially women, to embrace, because when you look at the statistics of people who are online or even mobile technology usage in Uganda, women are slightly lower than men. For us to get to that point where all these nice apps and services are utilized by women, we need to do a lot of sensitizing and also be patient. We need to, you're not going to go to a place and do a training for 5 days and put an app. Let's say they have a smartphone, put an app and say, "Yay, we've done this." It needs to be really patient for her to catch on, because even normally change is not something easy that we do as human beings. But also to the point where she was talking about why aren't banks using mobile money, I feel like there's an opportunity there between banks and telcos to work together. Because when banks say there's no collateral or they don't know the history, most of the people in Uganda are unbanked. Most of them do not, like, their businesses make money, but it stops in their pockets, like it exchanges without going into any formal bank or other system. However, most people are now using mobile money. So if you, for example, trace my mobile money usage, you have an idea of my monthly income. You'll have an idea of how money goes in and out of in my life. So why can't we use that to create collateral, or for you to know that if she's asking for 3 million loan and in her account over the last 6 months to 1 year, averagely 5 months, 5M has gone through her account every month, it gives you an idea. So I feel like there's a gap there where banks and telcos should utilize that data.
Sorry, I apologize
Banks
for
and
that.
telcos should utilize that data to work together.
And maybe to supplement as well, what we've done at Axiom and what we're going to do for the SME portal, the business optimization we talked about. And this is an opportunity for Opportunity Bank. Is that we have gone ahead and done exactly what you said. For every profile we have for a farmer, for an SME, we've done that business, what we call the business optimization. For the farmer, it is the agriculture optimization, because we look at the land and the productivity. For the businesses, we look at the last 2 years of profitability. We know they don't keep books, but somebody will say, no, I think I had about 2 million. Then that season was bad, I had 800. Now you do that and then you're able to trace it back. If we can have SMEs do that, there's a lot of opportunity for banks to then get most of these unbanked people into. And with the transactional history, which is already involved on the profile that we give, because once we profile you, we are able to credit score that profile. That will help the banks a lot. Please, and this is also giving banks the opportunity to have clients. Because imagine on the system we have 440,000 farmers and MSMEs. I will put an arm out there and say, please cut it off if you give me somebody who can geotag all the 400,000 if it is not Axiom in this entire country. Geotag and you can get them. What does a bank want? They want to know where their client stays because they run away. But I'm telling you, they're staying here. So why is the risk profile not reduced? Why aren't you reducing the interest rates? Why aren't you giving mobile money loans? And today I want to use this opportunity to state that it is very easy to use technology and utilize what we have and what we've developed in this country. Don't look outside the country. We are here to make sure that this is easier for finance to women, to finance women at the lower pyramid. Like I said, give finance, empower a woman empower a woman, you will have empowered a community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carol and Barbara. I'm about to close off this panel. I see Director Winnie might have a question, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay. But before I close off this panel, we actually, once we're done with this panel, we'll have the opportunity to listen to um, Mrs. Winnie Lawoko Olwe, who will be telling us a little about her journey as well, because we're here to learn, we're here to grow, and we're here to see how to fill those gaps. And just as I close off this, I'm going to ask you exactly the same question I asked the panel before. What two things would you say to a businesswoman to keep her grounded, to keep her anchored, to give her the courage and the energy she needs to continue pursuing her business? What two things would you say to that woman?
For me, one is never stop learning or get tired of the opportunities for learning that are coming up. I see so many opportunities, free trainings that happen, that come up, and yet women don't utilize them. And then they come and ask the same questions that were just answered in a training that happened. So I don't know whether it's laziness or something, but if you want your business to grow, learning never stops. There's so much, if you have access to the internet, there's so much online that has been made free that was originally paid. Now it's free. Utilize those learnings. If there is a gap that you see in your business, utilize those learnings. Some of the work that we do as a hub is to do business assessments and analysis to help you. Sometimes you may not know where the gaps are. You say, yes, I want to grow, but you haven't figured out where the gaps are. So we help you do an analysis for your business so that we'll tell you where the gaps are and then provide the business development services for you. So I would invite them to come and take part in our programs, but there are also so many others. We may not be close to you. Yes, we provide our programs online, but we may not be so close to you. There are so many other programs in this country that are offering great advice and support to businesses. So utilize that and also embrace technology. It's the new normal and it's not going to stop. Even post COVID-19, some of us have moved now certain aspects of our shopping or buys online, and we are not going to stop. So embrace it and utilize it and learn as much as you can.
Yes, Barbara, before you hand over the mic, for those of us who might have not heard who you are and how we can take advantage of, just tell us who Hive Collab is, how do we join?
All right. So Hive Collab is actually Uganda's first technology and innovation hub. We started out 10 years ago. We provide business development services to young people in any who's doing any business. We right now are running a recovery, resilience and recovery program for mainly women, 70% women, but also men. And we do this in cohorts. Right now, we have an application running out for the next cohort that's starting in May. We have a cohort right now. There's one starting in May. We are located actually in Kamocha on plot 90, or now it's 62. KCCA changed the plot numbers. So we're in plot 62, Kanjocha Street, Kanjocha House. And our email is just info@hivecollab.org or .com, and we'll be able to help. On Facebook, we are Hive Collab. On the internet, we are Hive Collab. Yeah.
Consistency in branding. I like that. What two things would you say, Carol? I like how you said you're the different school of thought. So I'm waiting for a different.
It's always different. I've been working with so many farmers and poor people across the world that when I came back home, one of the things that was important for me was, why should I help people out there when my people in my country can get similar? And for me, what I'll tell the woman is, we are coming. We are coming, and we are not coming to take your land. We're not coming to take away your crops or we're not coming to show the taxman because that's the biggest problem when we go to profile. We are coming to give you visibility for you to access service. We are coming to profile you so that you can get that which you've wanted for a long time, which is finance, which is insurance, which is security. So we do not want you to assume that by staying in your little corner, you're benefiting. Let us put a little light on you so that the likes of Opportunity Bank can see you for who you are. And then you can get what you want. You're looking for finance. That's the first thing. The second thing is, um, I'm going IVR. I don't know how to. Yes, but I need to because I have a feeling there's a farmer listening to me who might not understand. You know, that message that comes to you in voice is not just about campaigns. It's going to be coming a lot more often for you to learn. So when they come, listen to them, because we're doing a world countrywide IVR messaging, you know, to help people on weather, to help people on banking. So when it comes, it's not somebody campaigning. It's somebody telling you something about your community, your area. And the reason we are doing this is because of our literacy levels in the rural area. So you do not have to be learned to listen to a message. You don't have to be learned to understand what they're saying. Very simple instructions. Anything can happen with technology, and we're bringing it to you. You do not have to spend. For me, I look for the big guns like UIA, USID. I don't want their money. These other folks will handle that for you. For us, we shall bring a service. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Carol.